We're at a point in history where Pope Francis has met with the Grand Imam of Cairo's Al-Azhar Mosque, and they all met at the Vatican. Now this sounds like a wonderful thing, but it's one of those things in which the wonderfulness is only paper thin, because when you look behind it you'll realize that this is an exercise in futility. They are going to explore efforts to spread peace and coexistence. You know, when somebody speaks about things like this, you kind of wonder, what are they talking about? Islam has been spread throughout Christian worlds by the swords for 1400 years, and yet here they're talking about efforts to spread peace. Peace is defined in the Sharia. Peace is defined in the Sunnah of Muhammad. Peace comes after Christians submit, after Jews submit, after atheists submit. Then and only then will there be peace. Muhammad, I've been commanded to wage war against the Kafir until every one of them say, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. And coexistence. Well, coexistence is defined within the Sharia. Muhammad showed us how this is done. The Christian and the Jew become a dhimmi. They agree to live under the Sharia, which Pope Francis seems to be comfortable enough with doing, and they will pay a special tax, and they will be humiliated. Now, by the way, let me take a little sidebar here. I'm not picking on Catholics. This just happens to be an event with Pope Francis. You can say everything that I'm saying about every Protestant here in Nashville, Tennessee, and for that matter, every Jew, because the actions of the Pope are based on ignorance, as are the actions of the Protestants and the Jews. You know, the Pope here is trying to make nice, because you see the previous Pope mentioned something about, oh horrors, that there was violence connected between Christians and Muslims. Well, the Muslims showed him what they thought of that. You call us to be murderers? Well, we'll just kill a few Christians just to show you how angry we are about you calling us murderers. We'll also riot in the street. So Pope Francis here is trying to repair relationships. They're going to work together with world peace, rejecting violence and terrorism. Could we use the right words here? Pope Francis is a former Jesuit. I guess he's still a Jesuit. And Jesuits used to be very good at scientific thought and critical thought. But we have to use the right words in order to think the right thoughts. The word is not terrorism, it is jihad. Well, it was agreed that the Grand Imam would spread true Islam. Well, we don't need the Imam to spread true Islam. All we have to do is read the Sirah, the Quran, and the Hadith. That is the true Islam. And yes, we have to remember that 24% of the Quran written in Medina concerns itself with jihad, not a verse or two. Then they're going to correct misunderstandings created by extremist terrorist groups. No, they're jihadist groups, and they're not extreme. If you're following all the rules, how can you be an extremist? And Islamic State is following all the rules. Boko Haram is following all the rules. Al-Qaeda is following all the rules. The Taliban is following all the rules. They are not extremist terrorist groups. They're jihadist groups who are obeying the Sunnah of Muhammad. Now then, the Imam said not to deal with Muslim citizens as groups that represent a threat. I agree with this. We should deal with political Islam. That is the doctrine, that is the threat doctrine. We should deal with political Islam, what is there, what the facts of it are, and stop pretending like that we can make some sort of compromise with a doctrine which says its purpose is to annihilate us. Now then, here's a sweet note. The Pope has brought back 3 Syrian Muslim families back to the Vatican. Why didn't he bring back a bunch of Christians? And by the way, now that these Muslims are inside the Vatican, will the Vatican do what they did at Georgetown University, which was a Jesuit school at one time? Because you see there, when the Muslims showed up, they said, no crosses, cover the crosses or we won't go in the room. I wonder if the Vatican will soon be covering up all of its crosses as well. Now then, let me repeat, this is not an attack against Catholics. I'm picking on everyone who chooses to be an apologist for Islam. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Islam has integrated the Catholic and the Protestant because they're all treated the same under Islam, and both the Catholics and the Protestants say, oh, we love Islam, we've met this wonderful Muslim, he's a wonderful person, therefore Islam is wonderful too. No, what we should start doing is dealing with the facts of a doctrine that is out to destroy us. Thank you.